Hey, cryptozens. Tonight's stories. Chairman Powell. Russia-Ukraine fight shows the need for crypto regs. Charles Schwab files for a crypto-focused ETF. Ken Griffin backtracks on Bitcoin. The date is March 4th, 2022, and welcome back to the Crypto Overnighter. I'm your host, Nick. The cover model for the podcast is Tex, and together we take a nightly look at the crypto, NFT, and metaverse space and the industry that surrounds it. We bring you news stories on unfamiliar topics. And keep in mind, nothing in this show should ever be considered financial advice. If you're new here and you find that you like the show, subscribe and rate us. If you're on Spotify, you can rate us right from the app. So give Tex and I 5 stars. It'll help other people find their way to this podcast. Well, it has been a hell of a week, hasn't it? Last week, this time, everything was calm, at least on the crypto front. But other than the physical invasion, not much had happened yet. That changed Monday when the US and the EU and their allies decided to cut Russia off of SWIFT. The ruble, Russia's official fiat currency, cratered. It lost a lot of value on that announcement. It seems like a lot of the liquidity hit the Bitcoin market right about the same time. Reports are a lot of that buying came from Russia and Ukraine alike. Two countries at war facing the same struggle to save their economy. So Bitcoin got a big bump out of that. It had been on side and kind of bounced around from 38 to 44 on Tuesday. It's fallen a bit since then. At least at the time of writing, it's sitting back to almost where it started the week. And Bitcoin was not the only one. Most of the bigger altcoins did well, at least at the beginning. Luna gained 38%, and Atom, 35%. Now, before we get into tonight's stories, let's take a quick look at the markets. At the time of writing, the global crypto market cap is $1.75 trillion. That's down 6.86% in 24. The top 5 cryptos by market cap are Bitcoin down 7.81%, Ethereum down 7.4%, Tether, Binance Coin down 7.34%, and USDC. The global NFT market cap is just above 10.051 billion. The top 5 NFT collections by 24-hour volume on OpenSea are Cyberbroker V3, even up on the day. Azuki up 62%. CloneX down 28%. Bored Apes up 145%. And CryptoPunks down 21%. Now, keep in mind, some of these collections have very volatile prices, so do your own research. Chairman Powell says the Russia-Ukraine fight shows the need for crypto regulations. The chairman of the Federal Reserve is echoing sentiments from the European Central Bank, and as usual, the subject was Russia and its sanctions. Of course, the concern is whether cryptocurrency is going to sabotage what they've been trying to accomplish with these sanctions, which is force Putin to give up his illegal invasion and come to the negotiations table. Chairman Powell recently testified in front of the HFSC, the House Financial Services Committee. He was speaking on the subject of the economy and future monetary policy. When the subject shifted to Russia and its invasion of Ukraine, he said this fight underscores the need for crypto regulation he's advocated for quite a while now. So at the end of his testimony on Wednesday, Powell was asked about Russia. He was asked if Russia's going to be able to potentially use crypto as a way of getting around these sanctions. Because once Putin's invasion of Ukraine began, the West took the fight to Russia on the financial level. Included in this was the, quote, export blocks on technology from the U.S. to Russia and the cutoff of Russian banks from SWIFT. So when he was asked if Russia could sidestep sanctions using crypto, Powell said, quote, the Ukraine-Russia conflict underscored the need for congressional action on digital finance, including cryptocurrencies. we have this burgeoning industry which has many parts to it, and there isn't in place the kind of regulatory framework that needs to be there. He's right. By the very nature of crypto, the very fact that crypto allows peer-to-peer, cross-border transactions, it's very difficult for governments to manage that. Western banks are already concerned about crypto being used by Russia to evade sanctions. In addition, Powell talked about how crypto could be exploited by people like terrorists. He took some time to talk and further underscore the need for comprehensive regulation. He doesn't want to ban cryptocurrency, not like China did. But he and lawmakers have been sounding the alarm on the money laundering risks presented by digital assets. Now, there's really only one good point for regulators when they want to deal with crypto, and that's the exchange, because that is the choke point for fiat currency going into and out of this system. Recognizing that, Ukraine officials have called on crypto exchanges to blacklist the Russian addresses. They want this to, quote, sabotage ordinary users, bring enough political pressure on Putin to force him into diplomacy. Some exchanges are not on board with this plan. Kraken, Binance, Coinbase, they have all said they will not engage on a blanket ban on all Russian addresses, at least not until forced into it legally. But before we go too far with this, let's keep in mind that crypto is benefiting Ukraine as well. Russian cyber attacks and DDoSs on Ukrainian banks don't have much effect if they've switched over to crypto, at least temporarily. Charles Schwab files for a crypto-focused ETF. So, like BlackRock, Charles Schwab is moving into crypto. Sort of. So they filed with the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, to create a crypto economy ETF. Don't get too enthusiastic, because they're not buying crypto. So their filing said that their goal would be to, quote, track as closely as possible, before fees and expenses, the total return of an index that is designed to deliver global exposure to companies that may benefit from the development or utilization of cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin. So, no crypto. Instead, they'll be looking at other blockchain-related business activities. Now, if approved, they'll be operating under the name Crypto Economy ETF on the New York Stock Exchange ARC exchange. The fund will be tracking the performance of the Schwab Crypto Economy Index. Now, they specifically called it out. Charles Schwab said that their ETF will, quote, not invest in cryptocurrency or digital assets directly. The fund will not invest in initial coin offerings. So you see, it's not really like the same as a spot ETF, which exactly tracks the real-time price of a particular cryptocurrency or basket of cryptocurrencies. It's not even as good as a futures ETF, which still focuses on actual, albeit future, crypto prices. It does sort of offer indirect exposure to crypto by investing in the companies that have crypto on their balance sheet or where crypto is part of their services. And like other companies, they said last April that they would offer crypto services once the U.S. has clearer regulations. Now, I brought up BlackRock earlier because it's a pretty apt comparison, isn't it? BlackRock also filed with the SEC earlier this year. They too filed for an ETF called iShares Blockchain and Tech ETF. And, like Charles Schwab's offering, it's focused on the companies, not the currency. Can Griffin Backtracks on Bitcoin? His admission that he was wrong comes with the word that Citadel Securities has been scoping the crypto markets out. So now, he wants his firm to be the ones to offer digital assets this year. While on Bloomberg Wealth with David Rubenstein, Griffin commented on the current state of markets in light of recent geopolitical conflicts. He said that they are at a, quote, very volatile inflection point. As you can guess, the interview turned to digital assets. Previously, he'd warned the younger generation to stay away from crypto. There's no need for cryptocurrencies, he said. Things have changed. He's now revealed Citadel will be engaging in crypto asset markets this year. He said, quote, "It's fair to assume that over the months to come, you will see us engaging in making markets in cryptocurrencies. This is a huge departure from the tone shown in November of 2017. Now, at that point, he compared Bitcoin to tulip mania. He said, quote, "Bitcoin right now has many of the elements of the tulip bulb mania we saw back hundreds of years ago in Holland. When Bitcoin hit 10,000, he said, those bubbles tend to end in tears, and I worry about how this bubble might end." Now, during his interview, he was upfront about it. He said that he was wrong to have been in the naysayer camp. He said, quote, "Crypto has been one of the great stories in finance over the course of the last 15 years. And I'll be clear, I've been in the naysayer camp over that period of time. But the crypto market today has a market capitalization of about $2 trillion in round numbers, which tells you that I have not been right on that call." That said, he is not a full-on true believer just yet. He said he's still a bit skeptical. Quote, "To the extent that we're trying to help institutions and investors solve their portfolio allocation problems, we have to give serious consideration to being a market maker in crypto." So, what Citadel Securities does is they analyze global markets using a range of strategies to give their best investment returns that they can for their partners. Griffin wants them to add crypto to their services over the course of the next few months. In January, they announced their first outside investment. They got $1.5 billion from two crypto venture funds, Sequoia Capital and Paradigm. Now, the Citadel hedge fund currently has around $38 billion in assets under management. That's one group. Citadel Securities is a separate entity, and they were valued at $22 billion. And this change of heart is really rather recent for Griffin. As recently as November, he was skeptical still. He said that people are focused on new ideas and worried, quote, "Some of this passion is misplaced when it comes to cryptocurrencies." That said, he did go on to praise Ethereum. He believes Ethereum-based assets will flip in Bitcoin. And that's going to do it for us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. Do you have questions or comments about the show? Reach out and let us know. Send us an email at crypto.overnighter@gmail.com. That's crypto.overnighter@gmail.com. Oh, and hey, give crypto in 5 minutes to listen. We now have 31 educational podcasts and counting. 5 minutes to explain one concept in crypto. And forever, may peace